Hello everybody, can you hear me okay? Give me a thumbs up. Tell me if this microphone is working. I'll wait. Okay, is the microphone not working? Is that, okay, I got a thumbs up from Eric. Cool, I can hear you perfect, that's fantastic. Hello everybody, I'm Matt. Welcome to our Thursday night hang sesh, right? Over here on the Facebooks. Oh, I was doing this on Instagram, but I'm gonna try it here. See if this, I don't know, goes a little bit better. I grabbed a guitar. I can play some stuff if you'd like, or really I can answer any questions you might have. I'd like to talk to you about my record that comes out tomorrow. Kind of once we get going a little bit. I did have some people sending questions already, which is cool. Somebody was asking me about Worse for the Wear and about like what my headspace was like writing that record, and so I thought I would just kind of fill you in there. There's this sort of period that is like what I think, like I think Kilder, well I guess Worse for the Wear is kind of written like similar time frame as far as like what I was writing as On the Wire. So On the Wire comes out in 2002, Worse for the Wear comes out in 2003, Guilt Show comes out in 2004. And my songwriting, I see the most parallels, like songs like Overdue probably would have ended up on Worse for the Wear if On a Wire didn't end up sounding the way that it did, if it had ended up being more of a rock record and less of a kind of acoustic based record. But I think they were kind of written in the same sort of like headspace and time frame. You know, a lot of that time for me has to do with becoming a father for the first time. When we were making On a Wire, my wife was pregnant with Lily, and when I was making Worse for the Wear, she was a brand new baby. So that's kind of where my head was at that time. But then I was also still trying to write, you know, I was 23, 24. So I was still trying to write things that were like kind of more rock and roll relatable, I guess. Less about, I didn't know very many other people that had kids at the time. So that's what that is about. You know, you can also kind of hear similarities between Guilt Show and Killed or Cured, I think. I think that those two records, at least I'm hesitant to say stuff about that. Like, I didn't write all of On a Wire. I wrote some, you know, some of the basic song structures, but like the band is what made it different. I mean, that's why maybe you could say Words for the Wear and Wire sound a little similar, because the Pope brothers played on both of those records. So that was the question that I, you know, people had brought to my attention. So if you have more questions, please feel free to ask me. In the meantime, I wanted to tell you I have this record that comes out tomorrow that's called The Salt and Sea, and I'll be showing you some of these. So I have these LPs here. This is the record. And I'm going to show you some of this stuff. So this is one of the colors. So this is the blue smoke. And you can't see it very well. But, you know, you can't really see it unless you hold it up to a light. So that's a bad one to show you. But it's a very cool, it's the one that I'm using in the picture for this live stream. So you can, it's kind of confusing because when I first opened it, I thought it was just black, but it's not. So then I'll show you a different one. I'll show you a couple of them as we go on. This is the splatter one. So these are the variants that were in the Kickstarter campaign, which were, earlier this year, a couple months ago, I started this Kickstarter campaign, and I've got a couple of these left. I filled out all the Kickstarter orders, and I have a handful of these left because you have to order a minimum of 250. So if you're interested in any of these particular vinyl variants, then go to Pryor.com, which is the link that's featured here, and you can buy one. There's lots of other shit you can buy there too. So yeah, but that's coming out tomorrow. It's also got a link to my Bandcamp, and that was the other thing that I get asked a lot, is that sort of like that age-old, like, what's the best way to support an independent artist? And for me, it's to go to either Bandcamp, my Bandcamp page, or to my store directly, or to buy a ticket to come see me perform. So, let's see what we got. Any other questions? I'm reading your book. You can get signed copies of my book from my store. I'm plugging away here. I apologize. What was your go-to Taco Bell meal? And also, can you share any more stories about touring in Japan? So when we first started touring, we each got $5 a day, what they call per diems. And so that was like our food budget. This is making my arm look bigger than it is because it's pushing up against the guitar. But so $5 a day at the time. There was the like 79-cent menu at Taco Bell. So burrito. Sorry, looks like I came offline there for a second. I would eat a lot of bean burritos, basically like anything off the dollar menu, which I don't know what the dollar. It's probably like the $5 menu now, I would think. But my current Taco Bell order, because I still do love Taco Bell, is just your basic, crunchy corn tortilla supreme with sour cream. It's just, that's my shit. And that's from, just living off of that in the van for years and years. So, stories about touring in Japan. I'm trying to think if anything interesting happened this last time that we were there, because we were just there in October. And, it was kind of interesting going back to Japan. It was the first time we'd been there since COVID, and everything just seemed a little bit calmer. I'm not entirely sure if that's true, and also I think moving around there sober is a little bit easier to navigate. It's a little bit easier to find your way around. Okay, I'll tell you a story about Japan. This guy Nori, who's done our shows in Japan for years, he did our shows this last time. He had I think this story's in the book actually, so forgive me if I'm repeating it. But he basically we went out to one of those like after show dinners where we all went to a yakitori place and drank beer and got food, and he basically reached over and grabbed his production manager's beard and took out a knife and just cut his beard off at the table. And we were just shocked, and I didn't know what to do. The other thing I learned about in Tokyo in particular is that from what at least at the time, it was like the trains stopped running out of the city at midnight and then started again at 5. So if you were going to go out drinking, you had to make a decision of either going home before midnight, or just going for it and staying out till at least 5 in the morning. And so you had some people who were pretty shithoused by the end of the evening. I guess a lot of my stories about Japan are about drinking, so maybe that's why this one wasn't as eventful. How's your daughter doing? She's good. She's been performing. Her and Lily and Jersey are performing with me on this upcoming tour, so we've been rehearsing in there. So if you love seeing us on stage together, you'll see the three of us, the little family thing. The color on the vinyl looks amazing. Oh, thank you very much. Hi, Ron. How are you? Can't wait for my copy to show up in the mail. If you haven't gotten your copy yet, then keep an eye out for it. The bulk of all of the Kickstarter orders have gone out. There's a couple more that are the ones who ordered like handwritten lyrics and stuff like that I need to take a little bit more time with, because those are a little bit more hands-on than just packing up a record and signing it and taping it up. Got a question about the actual track list of the records and how you go about actually ordering the songs. Are there certain songs you write where you're immediately like, yep, that's officially the first track? Actually, so the first track and the last track are always the easiest ones for me to come up with. Like you can kind of, first track is usually like, there's songs like Holiday or like Satellite on Problems, or the title track on this new record that just sort of like, it doesn't look like it doesn't sound like it would fit anywhere else. And it would kind of sound like, it's sort of like if you put it anywhere else in the record, it would sound like a reintroduction. So I could see you maybe putting it at the beginning, something like that, a song that has like a definite intro to it, you would want to have maybe at the start of side 2 of a record, which I guess is still something to think about. It's something I think about. I don't know how relevant it is. You know, when CDs came around, it kind of like threw the whole 2 sides of a record thing out the window. And I don't know exactly how it is now with streaming, if that's still, you know, a consideration. I do know with streaming, the first song is the one that always gets the first song on record is the one that gets the most plays, because it's like, here, I'll check this out and I'll listen to like the first song and then decide if you like it or not. And then the last song, it's usually like, I like ending with a ballad. And I guess that goes back to the first Ghetto Kids record, you know, because it's like, it's always like there's like a straight up ballad that just doesn't seem to fit anywhere else except at the end. And then with this record in particular, with Salt and Sea, it was a little difficult to do the sequencing because I was trying to tell kind of a narrative, but I also didn't want it to take away from like the vibe and the songs and the flow of the record. So there's a little bit of the story of the record that's a little bit out of order, but it's because the songs fit better that way. So I wanted to, if I had to choose between the story and the feel, I wanted to err on the side of the feel. And so that's what I did. The song called Maria on the new record. So, if you never had Cookout, get some at the Motorco show. Motorco, okay. I don't know what that is. What is, is it North Carolina? Okay, I don't know. Ron, you'll have to tell me more in detail what that is. I don't know what Cookout is. Can't wait to see you in Austin. Yeah. Let's see. Any plans to revisit Omaha? I know the tour is stacked, but we'd love to see you guys again. I'm not opposed to it. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of the year, to be honest. I kind of wanted to cover as much ground in the States and in England, well, in the UK, because I'm going to Scotland and Wales too, just when this kind of initially comes out, and we'll just have to see how this tour goes. If this tour goes well, I mean, I haven't done a solo tour in clubs since 2017, so 8 years. So I have no idea if anybody's even going to show up. I would like it if you would show up. I'd love it if you'd go to my website and buy a ticket. That would get Ellis off my ass for a while. But I'd love to go to Omaha. It's only 2 hours away from where I am right now. Let's see. Saw you at the Twilight on my radio show. Oh, that's nice. Elliott Smith cover. Yeah, Lily and I did an Elliott, well, she did an Elliott Smith cover. I kind of sang harmonies on it. You talked about your lyric book being stolen for something at home about, and then the van got broken into. Is there any specific lyrics that you remember notably changing? That's a good question. I don't recall, to be honest. And at this point, having just gotten off a year and a half of singing that record every single night, I don't know that I could think of it any other way than how it's ingrained in my brain. And so even when you go back and listen to, like, if you got the deluxe version of the LP and you got the demos from it, I think some of those have some alternate lyrics in them, which is probably more along the lines of what got stolen out of the bag. But I couldn't listen to those. Those drove me crazy because the vocals are so bad. And also just, I can't listen to those songs any more than I have to at this point. I really very much need a break from them. So I don't know. I don't know how to, I don't think so. I guess if the answer to your question is if they were different, they would be in those demos, I would guess. But we'll never know because that Moleskine book got stolen. So, you can request songs. You can do whatever you want. I don't know if I'm going to play anything. I probably will. I'm holding a fucking guitar. But yeah, you can request whatever you want. But as per usual, whenever I perform, you can request whatever you want, but it doesn't mean I'm going to play it. And if you request something off of something you're home about, you're just being a dick. So I just told you that I was so burned out on that right now. My girlfriend Jen's heart is exploding. She's loving that so much. I don't remember what it was that I said that I'm glad that she liked it. I don't remember what it is that I said. Already grabbed my tickets to see you in Fairfield, Connecticut. That'll be cool. Jay Russell from Hot Rod Circuit's going to be playing with us in Connecticut, and hopefully some friends of mine from up there. That's where Peter Kate, like outside of Bridgeport, Connecticut, is actually where the studio that Peter Katis owns is, where we made Problems and we made On a Wire, and then he mixed and added a bunch of really cool shit to this new record, The Salton Sea, which I will now show you another of the pieces of vinyl that I have in my store, because these are left over from the Kickstarter. So this is the record, if you haven't seen it. This is a photo from the Salton Sea, from Bombay Beach, taken by Mike Dubin, and this last March, and that's me. Now, what color is this? This is the swirl, the blue swirl. I shouldn't touch that. But so that's one of the ones from the Kickstarter that I still have a few copies left in my web store that are up now. And you can also go download the record. It doesn't come out till tomorrow, but you can fucking do it tonight in my Bandcamp. So there you go. I remember seeing the new amps in Montreal like a million years ago, and one of your bandmates' instruments broke on stage. You didn't have the piece needed to fix it, so you guys took requests from the crowd for the last 75% of the show. Since there was a bunch of songs that you couldn't play. It was such a fun show. Augustana opened up, and I remember a bunch of younger folks left after their set. Just a fun memory. So I don't remember that show specifically, but I remember that tour. So that would have been like one of the first New Am's tours with the band that ended up being the final kind of lineup of the band, which is included Dustin Kinsey, who is the keyboard player in Get Up Kids now. And he played guitar in the New Amsterdams for years and years and years. But the thing I remember about that show in Montreal is that that was kind of in the early days of like MapQuest. Like I had always bought like road atlases from truck stops and stuff, and so we always found where we were going using a road atlas. And the guys in Augustana, who were much younger than us, not much, I don't know about how old they were. They were younger than me. Didn't know how to use atlases, and so they were going off of MapQuest, which, if you remember MapQuest, it's sort of like early GPS stuff. And so I just remember they were really late to the show because they got lost, and they decided to go try and find an internet cafe so that they could download the MapQuest directions, and I gave them endless amounts of shit for that. So that's my big memory of the show in Montreal. I think I remember that was also when Dustin was going through his very deep V t-shirt phase, where he would wear this like pink t-shirt that had like a deep V, like, yeah, just is a very kind of like Oh, I don't want to talk shit. Anyway, that was a fun tour. Hope the tambourine gets utilized at some point. Is there a tambourine in here? Yeah, it will. I don't think it will tonight. That would sound awful on a live stream. Just be like that. Might as well hit a snare drum. Even questions keep jumping around. Even though the book is separate from the album, did writing that overlap at all play? Did writing that overlap at all play any part of the solo album? I'm guessing you mean did my book overlap with this current solo album? Not in the. If that's not what you mean, please explain in the comments. But I think that what you mean, that's what you're asking me, and kind of, but no. The book is about 1991 to 1999, and the way it kind of ends up relating to the new record is that it was one of the things that kind of put me in this like really negative headspace where I was just sort of stuck in the past, and I was stuck in this sort of like rut that like I felt like the only thing anybody cared about was things I had done when I was 19, 20 years old, and that I kind of lost sense of myself, of who I was in the present. Like who I was when I was in my early 20s is very well defined and well documented, and you know there's emo books that talk about that time of my life, but it kind of had gotten to a point where I lost sight of where I was in the present, and I was dealing with that sort of, and it sent me into a depression, which I self-medicated with alcohol, which ultimately led me to go into the hospital, get sober, and then write this record about that experience. So in that sense, the book I see as being sort of related in that it was part of the catalyst of what got me to the point that I needed to make a change in my life. So yes and no, I guess is really the answer. Can't wait for the new record. Weird question. Cool. Back in March 13th, 2009, Teague played a 10th anniversary show at Liberty Hall. On the set, the name titled Danny Pound is listed before Mass Pike. Do you remember what was Danny Pound is, or what that was about? Okay, so Danny Pound is a singer-songwriter from Lawrence, Kansas, who was the force behind the band Vitreous Humor. And that night at that show, we did a Vitreous Humor cover, because they were a very big influence on our band, and Danny came out and sang on it. So that's what Danny Pound means. It does kind of sound like a wrestling move, kind of, but yeah, I could see why you would think that maybe that was the name of the song or something, but it's a dude. And then I think you could find, the song's called Sharon Stone, and I think you could find it, I think we did it in a Day Trotter session, which you can find online if you're interested in such things. That was a very specific question. Thank you. Favorite Jim Wilbur moment. Jim Wilbur from Superchunk had one of the greatest quotes in the world. Superchunk opened for us on one of the legs of the On a Wire tour, and we were super scared to meet them because we're massive fans. And Jim Wilbur, the guitar player, the day we met him was in South Florida. I don't remember, probably Fort Lauderdale if I had to guess. He basically walks up to us as they're getting ready to, like, we're all like at the end of the door backstage waiting to go watch Superchunk, our favorite band, play, and Jim Wilbur goes, "Watch and learn, boys," and then just walked onto the stage. And it was great because he was just such a dick move, but just so Jim. It was fantastic. Hi Matt, hope you and the family are well. We're good, I think. Yeah, thank you very much. I said that horribly. Sorry. Oh, you're fine. Don't worry about it. Just kind of bring up old dots. Danny Pound was a Vitreous Humor. I think that was a cover. That's what I just said. The Velvet Rut. Well, the Velvet Rut is a term that we use for Lawrence, Kansas. The Golden Handcuffs is another term, because it's very easy to live here, and if you don't have a reason to, it's easy to get kind of stuck. So, speaking of talking shit, no, this should be good. What do you remember about the Where's the Band tour 2016-ish in New Jersey, Asbury Park? It was definitely a show I remembered and still talk about it. Well, I don't know that it's talking shit, because you can, there's video evidence of it, but, my friend Chris Conley from Saves the Day kind of had a bit of a meltdown on stage and started berating the audience and stuff. And I don't really know what he was going through, but you can find video of it. And so we kind of just left him in New Jersey to kind of get himself sorted out. But yeah, it was a very uncomfortable evening, to say the least. And yeah, I don't know how else to put it. I don't really like thinking about that. It was a really difficult show to get through, and it was really difficult to see someone that you care about obviously having a hard time, and then doing it very publicly. So I don't think that's talking shit. I hope not. You had a J160E sometime around 2002 with the new amps when I saw you in Pomona. Curious if you still had it and continued today. It was made me want to buy it. I don't still have that guitar. It was the kind of John Lennon model Gibson, which basically looked exactly like this, even though this is a Taylor. Whoops. As you can see. But yeah, it's this sort of like dreadnought style. I have an old 60s Gibson J that I don't take on tour anymore because it's a family heirloom at this point. So, Paratota Vita album was monumental in my life. Guitar time. Oh, you want me to play a song from that record? I've got too many questions. Paratota Vita is a very good record. I'm very proud of that record, and it turns 25 in 2027, which is kind of crazy to think about. I don't know if this will let me send a link, but pictures from the aforementioned New Amp show. Oh, okay. If you want to send them to me, MattPryorSongs@gmail.com. I'd love to see them. We met once on an escalator in the Atlanta airport, and I fangirled out. Thanks for all you do and have done. If you could teach someone any one of your songs on guitar, which would you teach for them? I don't remember. I do apologize. I don't remember meeting you on an escalator. Escalator or elevator? Escalator. That seems like a strange place to meet people. But you know what comes up a lot is I have to find a capo. The song "Stay on the Phone," since you were asking about Paratota Vita, and it's basically that it's got these. It's just a scale. Well. It's like it's capoed on the 4th fret, and then it starts with this sort of like what would be a B if it was an open, but it's in this sort of like inverted, so it's like open 2 3, like that, which I guess would be well, that's how I'm gonna phrase it so that you know that like it's on. Whenever I capo something, I still call it by the chord shape that it actually is, but it's just basically like, and then it just like walks down the neck, right? So it's like, and then you get to do this little thing. So I don't know if you can see my hands very well, but that's basically what that whole song is just sort of this, walking scale, like that. And then like the song itself is just sort of like this long-winded story song that just sort of like is telling a story about being on tour and using a payphone, which is, do you still use the term boogin? I guess so. I don't know. Send me the pictures. Cool. Would you teach me how to play How Long Is Too Long? I don't remember how Long Is Too Long goes. I don't know. It's one of those songs. It's just it's become a constant joke. Favorite guilty pleasure artist, someone we wouldn't expect you to like. So No, I don't have one in the sense of that I don't believe in guilty pleasures when it comes, like, there's nothing that, like, I would listen to that I was ashamed of, because I'm like a student of like, I'm trying to learn songcraft and like study pop music in like anything that I listen to. I did have it took me a minute to kind of wrap my head around like hyper pop, like getting in, like my kids really like, or did like, I don't know if they still do, like 100 gecs, which was just like such a like weird out there thing that it took me a minute to, but then I started to like just listen to the melodies of what they were doing, and I was like, okay, I get that now. I'm trying to think if there's anything that you would be surprised that I was really into. That fucking K-pop Demon Hunters song is stuck in my head all the time. But, you know, I like pop music, so I don't know. I don't think you should have guilty pleasures. I think you should just have pleasures, you know? And if you like it, you like it. Who gives a shit? That's my take on that matter. Anyway. Let's see. Not a joke, it's a great song. What is the chord shape on the D chord on Close to Home? So it's the same one that I'm talking about, which I've had people tell me is a weird chord. So if you took a standard G, right, and you inverted it, right, that's what I'm doing up here. So that's the beginning of Close to Home. Which is similar, like I use that chord shape a lot. And for me, it comes from the Afghan Wigs, because I was trying to do the song Faded, which is like, that, but I was trying to do it with like full chords, so it's just doing like that. So it's just sort of like variations on a G is the way that I understand it. But yeah, so like I remember we were doing, so there's one of those chords in Satellite, like by myself, like right there, so it's a B of that. And I remember Peter Cadis just being like, what is that? And I was like, I don't know, it's a B. And he was like, that's a weird chord. And then he just kept referring to it as my weird chord. So there's also, you can get some good like sort of like resonant notes in there, and I like that. I don't know, it's just a chord that it's now just become part of the way that I play guitar. I am not classically trained, just so you know. What's your favorite Taylor Swift song? You know, I saw this, I have to admit, I like that that new song. I can't remember if it's called Actually Romantic, but it is Where Is My Mind, which is a great song too. My favorite Taylor Swift song, I kind of get into like, I really enjoy the stuff that she does with Max Martin, in the sense of like being a student of pop music. So like stuff like Shake It Off. Like if you want to have a fun time, there's this piano player, Chili Gonzalez, who's a songwriter and classical piano player. But he did these like YouTube videos that were like kind of like pop music breakdowns, and how they are similar to like classical music structures. And the thing I remember about Shake It Off is that it's the three, like in a chorus you would do like 3 repeats and then a change. So so you do that 3 times and then have a different tag at the end, which is something that like I do, but didn't know that was I love learning about real song structure and craft that I didn't know I was doing accidentally, because I'm just making shit up that I think sounds good in my head. That kind of stuff excites me. Like when I've learned the little I've learned about music theory, like when James used to show me stuff on the piano, like it was like it was just cool to be like, oh, yeah, that's what I would have done. And he's like, well, that makes sense because that's a major fifth or whatever. So, Love 100 Gex. Also, who killed Zix is amazing. Okay, good to know. I think I remember a section in Red Letter Days where one of these record labels, I think Mojo wanted you to redo a song that was released earlier. Pure curiosity, what song did they want? Oh, Amy. Every major label wanted Amy. And it was just sort of like, that was kind of a deal breaker for me. To just like, that's just a song. You know, it's a good song and people like it and we still play it. But it was just, it's like, if you think, my theory was, if you think that we are only capable of writing one good song, then it's probably not a good fit for a partnership, right? That makes sense, I think. Know any Nick Drake? I like Nick Drake. I don't know how to play. He's a very good guitar player. Kind of in the similar way of like Elliott Smith, where you just like, it's deceptively difficult to play. Ultimate Guitar has, okay, you guys are just talking to each other now. Never Tear Us Apart acoustic cover would be killer right now. You're just gonna like ask for random things. Fingers crossed for their Roll's 15th anniversary show in 2026. We'll travel to NEC it, just see it. I think you would be the only person who would. Also, I think, full disclosure, I think that I think that like the nostalgia sort of thing of like doing all of these anniversary, like we've done 2 full album tours of full records, and I kind of think that we're all sort of feeling like it's time to move on from that a little bit and do something that's actually like creative and not just playing old shit. You know what I mean? So I think that like the next thing that Get Up Kazoo will be some sort of like creative, we talked about this when we were flying to Fest, actually. It was just like, we need to be like, if we're going to keep doing stuff, we need to be like writing. So that's what would be on the next docket. I could see us maybe doing some sort of a release for Wire next year or in 27, but I don't think it would be a tour. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Let's see. Excuse me. The new live stream setup looks great. Oh, thank you very much. This is my office. Let's see. What is the biggest diabetic injury you've had? You talked about airplane turbulence causing injection issues. So if you don't know, I'm type 1 diabetic. I have been since 6th grade. I'm currently on an insulin pump, which is much better than taking syringes on tour and trying to, having a syringe and a vial and going into the bathroom and shooting up during airplane turbulence is scary. I never hurt myself necessarily, but I was always worried that I was. The worst time I ever had was actually in 2020, like right before COVID, when we were on that dashboard tour and we did a headlining show on a day off in Buffalo, and I ended up taking the wrong insulin. We were having an argument. We were having a spirited debate, and this was in the sort of like Bernie versus Biden era of March of 2020. And so we were having this sort of like back and forth about, you know, Bernie versus Biden, and which ultimately got decided for us anyway. And I ended up unknowingly taking the wrong insulin. I was taking 2 different kinds of insulin at the time. One that was a 24-hour slow-acting one, and one that was an immediate-acting one. And I took the large dose of what was supposed to be the slow-acting one out of the immediate-acting one. So I immediately realized what I had done. And honestly, I should have canceled the show and gone to the hospital. But instead, I just housed a bunch of sugar. They called into the restaurant next door, and he brought me, the chef brought me like a quart deli container that was just full of like soda syrup with a little bit of soda water in it, and so then it was before I was on a CGM, a glucose monitor, and so I had to like keep checking like every 2 songs on stage. I got myself to the point where felt like I was stable, and then like every 2 songs on stage, I had to like stop and check my blood sugar. It was rough. It was not. I don't recommend it, but I have much better. That wouldn't happen anymore because I'm on a pump, and B, it's just one of those things where like I have much better control over it now than I did. I actually went to the endocrinologist yesterday, and my numbers are great. So that's your diabetes talk for the evening. Oh wow, this is just flying by. So we'll just do this a little bit longer. I figured we'd do this for like an hour, and I'm gonna keep doing this like every week. But I should show you there is another vinyl variant if you're interested in things like that. So again, this is the record. This is the Salton Sea. Both the name of the record and the photo where the record cover was taken, and this is one of the vinyl variants, and this is, I believe this is the pink and blue explode or blast. I don't remember what it was called, but it's pink and blue. And so yeah, these were the ones that were the variants for the Kickstarter that I still have a few copies left. So if you go to my web store, mattpryorandthesaltonsea.com, it's the link over there. It's also the link in my bio, and you can buy the record or the download or the book or any of that stuff. So, and I would appreciate it if you would. Central Standard Time. I like Central Standard Time. Is one of those songs that like is a band favorite that is really hard for me to sing because it's like really high up there, and it's kind of like it had to go on the back burner because if I have like only so many songs a night that I can hit those particular high notes, I need to save them for like close to home, which are the songs that are actually on the record. So unfortunately, Central Standard Time, even though it's a song that we all really like a lot, it's got a really great bridge, I think. Didn't end up staying on the set list for the entire tour. Ooh, my voice is getting raspy. Hang on. Okay. Digging the new live stream setup. Thank you very much. This is my garage. Do you have an artist you go into way later in life that has had a massive impact on you? You know who I've really been digging a lot lately is Tyler Childers and Sturgill Simpson, who are people that like I had heard of but never really dug too deeply into. And Tyler in particular, just because I think he writes songs that are very lyrically driven, and he's just like a fantastic, storyteller, lyricist guy. And so that's somebody who it's one of those things where sometimes you find a new artist and then you're just like, oh, there's a whole like wealth of things. That's always fun. And I go back and like, oh, they've got like 6 records I can listen to. Were you at the Salton Sea during the summer or winter? Pretty hot girls out here in the valley. We were there in March. It's a weird thing to ask. I'm just jumping, so I don't know what's going on, but I will always love Don't Let the Bastards Get You Down. Oh, thank you. Get a Kids Eras tour set. Again, this is sort of like, I think we're entering into the part of the Get Up Kids the era of needing to make new music in order for us to not hate what we're doing. So the new era is the new era of new things. Did the band ever consider recording and releasing a cover of the actual LP after the success of pop punk bands like Alien of an actual LP? I guess what you're asking me is if we wanted to cover a cover songs record. Oh, we have this record called Eudora that has a handful of cover songs on it, but we've never done a ton of covers. We've done, well, that's not entirely true. We've done a fair share, but like at that time when like the Ataris had like Boys This Summer on the radio, I remember we had done a cover of a Cure song, and Vagrant wanted to try and push that to radio, and we were really against it because it was just like, it just didn't seem like it had, like, it felt like it was like a quick fix as opposed to like a longevity play, if that makes any sense. Like, it just seemed like if it was, I don't know many bands that had hits out of the box with a cover that then sustained that. Does that make sense? Like, I think that that's pretty rare. And so it wasn't something that, like, from a career perspective, we were terribly interested in. Actually Romantic. I think that Bowling for Soup is covering Actually Romantic. I saw a clip of that online. Totally rocked into the wrong part of the conversation. Syringe vials shooting up in the bathroom. Yeah, the early days of traveling as a diabetic is very similar to talking about being a heroin addict. So, but no, I'm just diabetic. I did the drugs that kept me alive. Still waiting for mine. Did they all ship? James, I can say yours in particular went out today. I'm trying to be kind to my very lovely mail carrier, who is a woman who is very nice and likes our dogs. And so I'm trying not to put out more than like 50 pieces of vinyl every day for her to pick up. And so there's one more batch going out that went out today, and then another batch is going out tomorrow of the initial run of the Kickstarter records. And then, like I was saying before, the ones that are have like handwritten lyrics and stuff in them are going to go out next week because I need to make some time to. I don't want to rush, running through all that stuff because it's personalized kind of things. So those will go out next week. But yes, actually, James, since I know who you are, I can say specifically that yours went out yesterday or today. It's an amazing song. I was about to ask the same. I haven't got mine either. It's coming, and if it doesn't, then hit me up. But it's a little slow. I apologize. It is a DIY operation. It's just me and Jersey filling all the orders. But it is all coming. If you have any issues, mattpryorsongs@gmail.com, and I will make them right. If you're into it, would you consider playing Proceed with Caution? I don't think I want to. Thank you, though. I'm glad that you like that song. Eudora 2. You should check out C.W. Stone King. He's got some great songs. Okay. Thank you. Your cover of Close to Me actually is what got me into The Cure, so thank you for that. You're welcome. I love that kind of shit. There's like, I got into the Misfits because of Metallica. So I think a lot of us did. So, it's a time-honored rock and roll tradition. The In Excess, and so there are some covers that we did over quarantine. We did an In Excess song, a Superchunk song, a Rock from the Crypt song, an Elastica song, and a Lemonhead song. And so we've been discussing what to do with those. I'm not entirely sure yet, but it'll be something soon. Maybe not soon, something eventually. Awesome news with respect to the USPS. Yeah. I was in today's batch 2, got shipping notification. Can't wait to get it. Oh, good. Can you discuss the outhouse in Lawrence? Any fun stories about your bachelor party? It would be badass if you played there in a special throwback show, Full Dream. The outhouse is a club, what used to be a punk club in the middle of a cornfield outside Lawrence, Kansas, that is now a strip club. And it is bring your own beer, bring your own booze strip club in the middle of a cornfield. And my wife and I went there for our bachelor/bachelorette party before our wedding, which was 25 years ago this week, which is crazy. But no, honestly, I had kind of lost interest in strip clubs in general, even before I quit drinking. And now that I don't drink anymore, I've lost pretty much all interest in them. But you should go. It's a one of a kind experience. It's not like anywhere else I've ever been. What do you find yourself randomly singing that surprises you? Oh God, I have. every morning I wake up with some random thing stuck in my head. I guess I could start keeping a list of that and let you know. I work at USPS, just run it to one of the shops. We don't care if you send a massive amount at one time, if it's not too much pain to get one. So I used to do the Get Up Kids mail order back in the 90s when I lived in Boston. And we used to get, I would have, those like shopping carts that like little old ladies have when they go to the grocery store that's like a big basket on wheels. So I would have one of those and I would walk to the post office off of Harvard Ave in Allston, Massachusetts, and I would get so much shit from the people at that post office that I've since never wanted to like take, a truckload of packages to the post office. So that's why I started doing the pickup thing, and I really like our mail carrier. So, this system's working. It just takes a little bit longer. That's all. All right, we're gonna wrap things up here in a second. I love the USPS. I think it's fantastic. Any alternate tunings you guys are going to experiment in the future? I've been kind of dicking around with that DADGAD, the DADGAD thing, and then Jersey just had whatever the tuning is for Elliott Smith's Clementine was what he tuned one of his guitars to, and I was playing around with that, and I was like, oh, this is fun. I've never messed around with alternate tunings that much, but I think that they're really fun, and I might try to do it more. So, okay, last question, and then I'll play a song, and then we'll wrap it up, and we can do this again next week. I'm going to keep doing this every Thursday at 8 o'clock, pretty much until the tour starts, which is in January. Keep your questions coming. If you want to email me or post it on Facebook or Instagram or any of, anywhere else that just do it on those two. And then I can answer it next time, I guess. In the meantime, last question. Was the stolen demo Send Us a Saint meant to be on the album? It's a great song that I don't think was ever actually released. It was, and then so was the song Blue Skies that ended up being a Blackpool Lights song. I don't know if Send Us a Saint ended up, but that's one of those songs that like, if we did do a deluxe version of On a Wire, it would be cool to actually release, because there's a whole like record's worth of demos of songs that didn't make it onto that record. So. Okay, what your favorite Christmas song is? I'm not great. I don't love Christmas songs. There's just too many. It's kind of like children's music. There's just too much bad stuff. There's a band from Philly that I really like called Marah that did a record called Christmas Kind of Town. That gets rotation. The Sufjan Stevens Christmas record gets rotation. I need to listen to Manchester's Christmas stuff that they've done. And I would say my favorite Christmas song is probably not even a Christmas song, but it's George Jones, If We Make It Through December. And so, but then, Christmas Baby, Please Come Home, Darlene Love, like that's probably the best Christmas song ever written, I would think. Okay. Jesus, guys, stop. Knoxville's NCC, they got the... Put this out there because it's a memory that means a lot to me. I thought, I live in Knoxville. I'll come back to this Knoxville thing because I don't know what that is. Super awesome to do the live streams. Secret website and Send Us a Saint. Yes. I'll let you guys talk it out amongst yourselves, but I'm going to play again. New record, The Salton Sea. If you want a different vinyl variant, this is the one that Polyvinyl has, which is Coke Bottle Green, which is kind of cool. But that's the one that Polyvinyl has. And then if you live in England, or if you like paying for shipping from England, you can get one from Big Scary Monsters, who put the record out. in the UK, and it's got this cool, like, another variant. There's 6 different vinyl variants right now. I have 4 of them in my store, if you would like to check that out. Matt Pryor and the saltandseed.com. So I'm going to try and play you a song from the new record that's called The Dishonesty. There's a video for it that you can see on lots of places online that Josh Brewing from the Anniversary made. It's animated. It's real fucking weird, which if you know Josh is on point. And yeah, so the record comes out tomorrow. You can order it tonight. You can listen to it tonight on the Bandcamp. You'll be able to listen to it on all the streaming platforms tomorrow, or buy a copy. I'd appreciate it. And if you want to come see me play more songs, I think the way that the tour is going to work is that me and the kids will play for a while, and then I'll play songs by myself and maybe take some requests if you guys are cool. If you're just going to shout out dumb shit, then I'm not going to do it. That's a joke. I'm trying to be self-deprecating. Anyway, I would play this song called The Dishonesty from the new record, and I'm probably going to fuck the lyrics up, but we'll see how it goes. Here we go. I once rode a crooked line nobody would read. I'm poring over paragraphs, I'm dotting all the T's. Days seem to disappoint, no progress to see. Just to keep a promise I could keep, just so I could get myself to sleep. Oh, the dishonesty, lies are suffocating me, and I don't have the strength enough to put this to an end, so I can tell the truth to you again. The world has given me, oh, the dishonesty, and I don't want your sympathy. Surely there is something else to bail the man for gold, that I'll just have to stop digging the hole. Oh, the dishonesty, oh, the dishonesty. Oh, the dishonesty. Oh, the dishonesty. Thank you very much. I'll see you next week. If you would like to come to the live stream, it'll be every Thursday at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. And send me your questions, and I hope that you come check out the record, and I hope that you come to the shows. And I'll see you later. Thanks for coming. Bye.